118 out there, that's Athol Thompson from Ferry Hill. 871, Ray Armstrong from Stockton. 559 also out there. 559 looking down the programme is Ray Weldon from Aycliffe. So we've got a fair collection of drivers from across the circuits of Brisker. Number 19 is out there. That's Jock Threadgold.
Yes.
Jedburgh. Picking out some of those yellow tops, what would you say? Any men to watch for there?
There's some quite full wire has been going very, very well here of recent. The leader of them, George Fulton, 736. He's come on to quite good form of recent.
Looking at the blues, with Alan Eastman out there, he's been quite familiar on Screensport, 688.
Number 70, Jake Lothian from the Borders is certainly one to watch. Number 16, Jimmy Wallace, one of our home drivers.
And they're just the red tops going through. John Dawes out there, 907. 800, Roy Goodman. 722, Paul Broach. 621, George Beckham's in there. And then we have the Scots, 33.
That's Keith Stanford. He won the meeting final last night. Number 78 is Ron McVicker. And I notice leading the Reds is none other than Billy Batten.
Bill Batten, yes, a good return. And we're glad to see him back on the Formula 2 circuits. Bill Batten. So the race underway and leading into the turn, and very close stuff. Certainly plenty of cars up there to give it action. 19 leading. We've already got a spin out on the bend. 989 being collected by 43. Well, within the first, 40, 50 yards, though, of the Newtongrange reputation being established, cars spinning out the back straight as well. And I can see now why they have the tyres by the football pitch.
Another pile up on the back straight there, causing problems. Ed Planet's in the fence.
Well, this is the taste of what the World Final is going to be like. It's what you were saying about the possible pile-up could be a problem. Well, OK, no, none of the whites and yellows in there, but on the other hand, it's going to be very tight stuff, very determined.
Oh, yes, very, very determined.
So the cars now going round slightly more orderly. Not so many spin-outs at the moment. We've lost something in the region of 6 cars already. The yellow flag now being waved. Caution now recommended to the drivers.
Yeah, either a driver hurt or some metal on the track.
And so the race slows down. And indeed the pace car is coming out. And our leader is John Thompson. So the cars now being guided by the start of the pace car also out. And now the flag's being held steady yellow. So our race leader is car number 701, John Thompson from Doncaster. There you see him. John Thompson first in 701. Second is number 19, Jock Threadgold.
Third is Ronnie Ford from Earlston. And we have John Lovett. Our Irish visitor, Jim Greenwood.
667, the red top showing up there also in the field.
Just shows the amount of leeway that Billy Batten has already made up in such a short time.
Of course, Billy Batten, a legendary name in Formula 2 racing, isn't he?
He is indeed. It was a sad loss when he retired. There's never really been anybody to step in and take his place.
Well, we're delighted to have Bill Batten here on one of our Screensport cable televised Formula 2 meetings. And now as the cars go round on once more a rolling lap, we've got the rain beginning to fall here at Newtongrange. Very blustery weather, and I think we're going to get touches of showers, but no real heavy rain here. Do you think so, Jim, as well?
I don't think we'll get heavy rain. At least I hope we don't. I think that would make the World Final a lottery then.
Well, the green flag now once more coming down. The pace car is off and the race underway. And now taking the lead from the restart is 19, Jock Threadgold. Jock Threadgold now's in first. Second is 701, John Thompson. And Bill Batten now in 5th place. Being chased by Paul Broach there in 722.
Danger Man's in front, and that's Jim Greenwood, number 34.
Jim Greenwood now through into 2nd place in 34. John Thompson back in 3rd, and Greenwood, oh yes, just siding away through on the inside. Greenwood out in front. The Ulsterman first in 34. So Jim Greenwood leads. Second is 19, Jock Threadgore and Paul Broach collecting one of the cars. They're spinning around. And 701 John Thompson also in trouble, pulling out onto the infield.
And here's Derek Donaldson into the fence in front of us, followed by George Fulton.
Also, Roy Goodman has spun out on the home straight just by the pit turn, trying to get back into the race. But there we have those cars trying to get themselves out of the wire ropes on the outside of the circuit. Leading in 34 is Jim Greenwood. And Bill Batten now coming through into second place. Greenwood now catching up with the back markers. 736 just pulling off the circuit. And we're certainly getting a real taste of the Batten driving skill. Not to mention Jim Greenwood, though, out in front. He certainly works his way up very well, and Batten showing why really he is such a big name in Formula 2s. The other red tops not really showing to any great extent. John Dawes up there with him. But out in front, Jimmy Greenwood, car number 34. And the St Andrews cross flag goes out. We're used to seeing the Union Jack here in Scotland. Of course, it's the national flag for the halfway stage.
Greenwood's picked up such a lead now, I can't see Billy Batten catching him. In fact, I think Billy Batten's going to be caught himself by John Daw.
So John Daw from St Austell, closing the gap all the way, races regularly on the Cornish Stadium. But out in front is Jimmy Greenwood, the Ulsterman, showing that these Northern Ireland drivers certainly have the pace. Although when Kevin Stack went over to Ulster for the European Championship, he managed to take the title away from the Ulsterman.
That's correct. And coming through the field is Keith Stanford, number 33. One of the home drivers. And with a clutch of Scotsman going down the back straight.
So now we just saw Batten and Daw going around there. You can see they've got 939 sandwich between them. There goes Daw through on the inside. We've seen plenty of John here on Screensport this year down at St Austell, Newton Abbot and the other West Country circuits. Now coming up very close on the back wheel of Bill Batten. Batten in 667, 907 John Daw. This is the race for second and third. Jimmy Greenwood in complete control out in front in 34. Batten versus Daw for second and third. Greenwood has 5 cars between him and the 2 chasing men in 667 and 907, and Greenwood's got plenty of distance between him.
Batten out. Batten spun out.
Batten's out there, yes indeed.
Restarted. 559 just going sliding straight on into parked cars.
That's gradually building up into what could be quite a problem, but there again we're coming into the closing stages of the race. Only 3 laps now remaining. Jimmy Greenwood about to change that to 2. The start of bringing out the 2 plates now for Jimmy Greenwood in car number 34. Something like the complete length of a straight lead over the second place car, indeed a little more than that maybe.
There's Batten pulled out in the back straight.
So John Daw safely in second place. And so we've had a taste of the skill of Bill Batten. Unfortunately, didn't see much of Roy Goodman, spun out in the early stages of the race, and the car parked on the home straight. Batten still keeping going, but he's lost several placings after spinning out on that turn. So Jimmy Greenwood suggesting that the Ulster Challenge here this afternoon may well be a strong one by winning the first race for the Formula 2s here this afternoon, the AA Components Trophy here at Newtongrange. The winner, number 34, Jimmy Greenwood, second place, 907.
Jimmy Wallace losing a wheel in the last lap.
That's always bad news. And so it's 34, Jimmy Greenwood from second place, 907, John Daw. And so there's
and somebody goes straight into the bench, throttle full open.
Yes, the action not always during the actual main race. You can also often get stuff like that just coming after the checkered flag has gone. The drivers still, of course, racing for their placings after the winner has gone past, having been lapped. So plenty of action here in the first race in the Formula 2s here at Newtongrange, and it certainly suggests that we're going to get an excellent world final here at the Minton. And everything I think that I've heard about Newtongrange before coming here has been certainly displayed in that first race. Fast, pacey racing, a different style to the West Country, but my goodness, plenty of action. So now on to the Formula 2's consolation race, and leading off is car number 871. 871, the car of Ray Armstrong from Stockton. Visitor up from Teesside. He leads in the consolation. We've got a couple of... Oh, yes, and there's the car being spun out.
Big pile-up. That's Stuart Smith, the Formula 1 world champion, being spun out by Russell Taylor. So we've got a big pile-up in the back straight, which involves Derek Kildare, Paul Broach, Roy Goodman. Cars taken to the grass to get by.
That's real mayhem there. Look at that pile-up. My goodness, there must be at least 12 cars stopped on that turn. They're going to have to stop this one, aren't they?
I think
surely,
the race
Jem?
is going to have to be stopped. There's just no way the drivers can get through.
Well, Stu Smith finding out that the smaller cars can have their hazards, so there was 744 taking him out on the turn. 744, Russell Taylor spinning out Stu Smith, the World Formula 1 champion, racing in the Gordon McDougall car used earlier on in the day.
The race has been stopped. Be restarted.
So it's effectively going to be a restart while they get those cars off. There's going to be rolling laps. The pace car, no doubt, will be coming out. In the meantime, the cars extricating themselves from that turn. I think most of them will be mobile. It'll be a pity if Stu Smith can't get back out for the restart. An intriguing event, that Stu Smith, the Formula 1 driver, coming out in the Formula 2. The green flag down now and the race restarted. Two white tops leading, 871 Ray Armstrong now. Second place is car number 36, Ed Pannett from Stillington. And Pannett going through on the inside of the leading car, 871 Armstrong, to lead the race.
Pile up at the top end. Jock Threadgold going in with some...
Three yellows out there, isn't there?
Yes. Looks like George Fulton in behind him.
That's Pannett first, Phillips second, two yellows leading, then comes Ray Armstrong in 871, then 900 Bryn Thomas. Roy Goodman, the first of the red tops to show. Roy, the 54 veteran, and promoted down at Smeetharp, right down there at Taunton. So Pannett leads. Paul Phillips a close second. There you see the pack coming through.
There's Eric Moore, one of our red tops, well to the fore there, coming down the back straight. He's catching Goodman.
So there you see the leaders going into the turn, and now getting stuck in is Bryn Thomas. Bryn, a novice this year, wasn't he?
He was, yes.
And really showing well. Right up to blue now. Tailing the two leading yellow tops and using the bumper. Oh, superbly through. Yes, he's got the brake on the inside. Well, he certainly learns a lot from his father, Taffy. Bryn Thomas leads in 900. Second is Paul Phillips in number 4. Roy Goodman now challenging for third place with Ed Pannett. As they come down the straight, Bryn Thomas in command. He's now opening up a 15, 20-yard lead, maybe more. Roy Goodman in third. Fourth is Pannett. Fifth is the 49 car of Eric Moore.
Eric's now coming under strong pressure from Mike James and Chalky White.
Two West Countrymen challenging the Scot. And more through on the inside of Pannett. Now here comes James White just behind him. Then comes Chalkley. A couple more of the Scots. Blue tops. Then Paul Broach, 722 Alan Warrener and Russell Taylor. That in front, Bryn Thomas. Now opening up at the length of a turn lead, and that's a long distance here at Newtongrange. Roy Goodman in second now. Third is Paul Phillips and Eric Moore coming through on the inside.
Just watching the Russell Taylor car going with that wing, he certainly seems to be moving very, very quickly.
So there we just saw Chalky White working us through on the inside of Pannett. There's Mike James in 617 going through. We saw Broach and
Warrener straight into
Taylor,
the fence.
and Warrener's got trouble. He's straight into the fence, trying to get free. He's absolutely locked in there. So it's first Bryn Thomas, second Roy Goodman, 900 from 800. And third and fourth, it's very, very tight between Eric Moore and Chalky White. Chalky White now breaking through into third place. In the meantime, though, veteran Roy Goodman holding down a good position in second. Bryn Thomas, the blue top 900, I'm sure that'll be red in the not-too-distant future, probably next season now. I think we're into the last set of gradings, aren't we?
Yes, we are indeed.
So it's Bryn Thomas from Buckfastleigh in Devon. first. Second, Roy Goodman from Taunton. Third, Chalky White from Sidbury, also in Devon. Fourth, Eric Moore in car number 49 from West Calder. That's in Fife, isn't it, Jim?
No, that's in the Lothians.
In Lothians, okay. Trying to take a guess there on Scottish geography and falling foul.
Close, though.
A span of a bridge between them. So Bryn Thomas having a good drive here in front of some very good cars behind. Coming in now to pick up the win in the Formula 2 consolation race, the R.D. Anderson Haulage Trophy. The winner, Bryn Thomas in car 900, close in second. Close for that second place. We'll come back with the official verdict as soon as we have it on that race. But a good win for Bryn Thomas in car 900. The blue top winning out in front of a field of some very experienced star red tops and a couple of superstars in there as well. They coming out. And the pace lap being cleared. The pace car pulling onto the infield very, very tightly. The green flag goes down. And so the Formula 2 final is underway. The Dalkeith Auto Wheels Trophy. 101 leads John Rutter. Second is 760 John Lovett from Durham. And coming through on the inside is the Irishman, number 34, Jim Greenwood, through into second place. He was the winner of the first heat, I think, of the Formula 2s, wasn't he?
Yes, he's now taking the lead.
So 34 Jim Greenwood leads. Second, that 760 car of John Lovett. Third is number 94.
That's Billy Allison from Ireland as well. There's Eric Moore out.
Eric Moore on the
centre green.
But out in front, and convincingly so, is Jimmy Greenwood. Winner once already, winner now in the grand final if he holds
Jimmy
on to that
Moody
position.
spinning out.
Jimmy Moody spun out. Roy Goodman spun out as well.
Very arty work by Keith Stanford, missing them both.
Jimmy Moody getting the car back round again, but he's lost so much ground and now being lapped by the leader, Jimmy Greenwood. Second is number 94, the other Irishman, Billy Allison.
And there's Roy Goodman out.
Roy Goodman getting back. That's the second
again.
time, almost getting the leader as he came back. So the Irish going well here in the Formula 2 Grand Final. Jimmy Moody confusing one or two people here by lying second at the moment, but he's a lap down. So the second place is 94, Billy Allison. There's Chalky White going through on the inside of Dave Bunce, the 83 world champion. And Chalky White shrugging off the challenge of Bunce, getting through one more place, and that now is target car 760.
Derek Kilday's spinning out after contact with Ian McKnight.
So the leader, Jimmy Greenwood, in 34.
John Lovett spinning out in the top bend, luckily pulling well clear of the racing line.
Looks at the moment it's Chalky White in second, isn't it? Looking down that because Jimmy Greenwood's gone past a few back markers.
No, it's Billy Allison that's in
Billy
second.
Allison, Oh yes, Billy Allison in 94, yes.
And then
So
John Dawes.
John Dawes up there,
Ian
yes.
McKnight.
907, then Chalky. Then yes, Chalky White. A bit further down maybe. So the Irish going very well here in the Formula 2 Grand Final. Jimmy Greenwood out in front. 1300cc engine cars. Basically Fords, aren't they, Jim?
Yes.
A standard engine.
Well,
Variation.
variation.
Once you start working on it, yes.
Yeah. Depends how much money you want to put in your engine. There's some fully prepared mass engines out there which are extremely good engines.
So Jimmy Greenwood at the halfway stage now and locking up there coming into the straight, correcting the problem. So Billy Allison, 94, still up there. John Dorr still in with a chance, also 32. There's Jimmy Greenwood seemingly set for his second victory, halfway through and beyond now in this Formula 2 Grand Final for the Dalkeith Auto Wheels Trophy here at the Nitton.
There just doesn't seem to be anybody to catch him when he starts from the blue grade. It's almost uncatchable.
Yes, of course, that blue grade giving him an extra few yardage that is really giving the red tops here one or two problems trying to catch the flying Irishman, Jimmy Greenwood. We said earlier on, Jim, that these Irish certainly can move, and Jimmy Greenwood showing it here, isn't he?
Oh, yes, yes. Very much so. He didn't come into the racing until midway through this season. That's probably the reason that he wasn't in for the World Final. That certainly could have made quite a difference if he had been. But,
in the meantime, there's trouble there. Someone was pulling out on the turn. Looked like Greenwood for a moment.
It is Greenwood.
Yes, Greenwood pulling out on the turn. I thought that was. So that's thrown a new complexion on the race. Car 94 second, isn't it? Billy Allison.
Yeah, Billy Allison, top end.
Billy Allison coming down the home straight now in first place, car number 94. Just going now into the back straight. There he is, car 94.
John Daw in second, followed by Ian McKnight.
There's Brian McKnight in car 32 up there as well.
Oh, and there's Jimmy Moody on.
Well, one or two problems
Ian
there
McKnight.
for the cars. Ian McKnight.
Which has lost Ian McKnight a lot of time.
Yes. There's Derek Kildare and Jimmy Moody together. Roy Goodman just behind them. They're lying a lot a fair way down. Moody, of course, having to make up that lap handicap he had due to spinning out. And definitely some close contact there. Simon Shortley getting edged out. There goes the 94 leader, Billy Allison, carving away through on the inside, getting a bit of bumper from the second place man, John Daw, isn't it, coming through there? Oh, really savage stuff, determined driving.
Into the fence, yes.
Oh, John Daw leading now in 9:07. Billy Allison getting edged out of the way. John Daw showing all the classic style there of the use of the bumper. John Daw from Cornwall. And that's now the final lap. The flag coming out now for the end of the race. Checkered flag waiting for John Daw. A fine race by John Daw. Bided his time, waited for his moment, used the back marker against Billy Allison, through into first place for a win. First, number 907, John Daw. The winner of the grand final, the Dalkeith Auto Wheels Trophy.
Oh, and a big pile
there's still mayhem on that home straight.
That's Ian McKnight. Errol Johnston's got a burst steering.
So the drama going on right until after the checkered flag there in the Dalkeith Auto Wheels Trophy. The winner of which was number 907, the long-distance traveller up from Cornwall, John Daw. Well, now we come to the climax of the day's racing and indeed the entire Formula 2 season, the 1984 Briscoe Formula 2 World Championship here at Newtongrange, and the cars lining up in the grey positions earned by virtue of those semi-finals at Taunton and Skegness. So on pole position, grid 1 will be Chalky White and Malcolm Locke. Row 1, Chalky White 514, Malcolm Locke 698. Off the second row will be number 1, Dave Bunce, the reigning world champion, and 628, the current national points leader, Kevin Stack. Off row 3 will be Nick Lawrence in 561, Mike James in 617. Then on row 4 we'll have Ivor Greenwood from Northern Ireland and the South African Harry van der Spuy. On row 5 will be 900 Bryn Thomas and 14 Jonathan Milicevic. On the next row then we'll have car number 7, that'll be Jimmy Moody, and 890 Peter Rice. Then on row number 7 indeed, 673 Errol Johnson and 723 Alan Warrener. On row number 8 we'll have the Dutchman Toon van der Kroes and the Northern Ireland number 32 Ian McKnight. Those are the opening 8 rows on the grid here at Newtongrange for the World Final. Then going down we have number 766. And 766 is Pete Hobson. Number 69 outside him, Simon Chalkley. Then we go on to row number 10. That will be 23, Adrian Smiler Hudson, and 49, Eric Moore. Then on row number 11, 753, Andy Morris, and 87, Andy Rawlinson. Then we have on row 12 the other Ulsterman, number 94, Billy Allison, and the man from the Isle of Man, the Manxman, Brian Kinraid, in car number 64. Then on row number 13, 651, Gary Sansom, and 790, that's Mark Taylor. On row number 14 will be 179, Derek Kildare, and 689, Paul Butcher. And on the back row, 744, Russell Taylor, and 313, Gary Bark. That's the field for the 1984 Formula 2 World Championship here at Newtongrange. Well, Jim, what's your analysis of it?
Well, this is the big one, isn't it? Chalky White's must be in with a great chance of winning this race. Dave Bunt, another with a good chance. I would have liked to have seen the title coming to Scotland, but unfortunately I don't think it will come to Scotland this year.
Well, Errol Johnson is your, Jimmy Moody rather, is your highest road, if you like, competitor down on the sixth row. That's a bit far back, isn't it?
It's a bit far back, but Jimmy will try, and so will Errol on the row behind. They'll certainly try to make it a race.
But once more, we'll say, though, that if there is a pilot, though, those rows will come into force. And that's the situation. Obviously, the two men on the front positions, Chalky White, 514 from Sidbury in Devon, and Malcolm Locke from in 698 from Marnell in Dorset. The two favourites, but they have got that reigning world champion, Dave Bunt, just behind them. Now, we've not seen too much form out of Dave Bunt this year. Indeed, his point scoring on the fairly low side, and certainly in the meetings we've covered on Screensport, he hasn't seemed too much of a force. But he tends to keep his form for the world final.
He does indeed, yes. I think he was quite surprised last year to win it. I don't know whether... he hasn't gone too well up here in these few meetings.
So fairly unfamiliar with the Newtongrange setup. What about Chalky White and Malcolm Locke?
The last time Chalky White was up here, he had a bad meeting. It was the qualifying round for the world final, and he failed to qualify. Malcolm Locke, on the other hand, has gone quite well up here. He's won one or two races. He knows the circuit. He was quite quick in practice yesterday. Yes, he could do it.
Chalky White, of course, he's an expert down at Newton Abbot, and in a very competitive series of fields down there in Devon. But on the other hand, it's a long, long way, not just in terms of miles, but in terms of distance on the track, in terms of difference of size of track between Newton Abbot and Newtongrange, isn't it?
That's correct, yes. They all have, maybe seems funny to say this, but they've all put in bigger petrol tanks just to last the distance, which is quite an important thing when you're doing 20 laps on a 300-metre track and then 20 laps in this one. Quite a difference.
And of course, this actual world final over 30, isn't it now?
It is indeed, yes.
So we've got plenty of racing in here, and there's going to be a lot of tension. The cars, of course, all very close space on the grids. Not like the usual Formula 2 racing where there's someone way back having to make up the distance. This time, they're all down to their achievements over the World Championship. They qualified for grid positions in the semis down due to their qualifying round scores. And now those semi-final finishing positions have dictated the places on the grids here for the 1984 Formula 2 World Final. The tension mounting, the throttle feet just getting a little twitchy, a little itching to get this race underway. Kevin Stack, though, a major threat on the second row of the grid. He's running number one in the National Points Championship at the moment, although I was talking to Trevor Whitney not so long ago. He thought maybe that Kevin Stack car was not quite up to the standard, and really that Kevin's doing an awful lot with a car maybe that is not quite as competitive as some.
Well, Kevin, I mean, I would love Kevin to win it. I'd like to see him be world champion and national points because he's the best ambassador of the sport that there is. Unfortunately, I don't really think that Kevin's got the equipment. I mean, the job that he does with what he's got is just fantastic.
So the car's going past our camera on the turn. That's a long, long way through that field for those cars at the back. It'd be a major surprise if any of those really get into the frame.
I see Chalky's been waving to the crowd going round, full of confidence.
He's a very, very cheery character. I remember interviewing him down at Newton Abbot, and beforehand, unfortunately, we couldn't get him to do it in front of the cameras, but he did a marvellous impersonation of Deputy Dog. The car seems to sum up the personality. A short man, a short car, but on the other hand, one that it's very hard not to notice, isn't it?
Yes, it is indeed.
So there we have it. You see that you have the twin numbering there of Dave Bunt's car, his usual racing number of 595 with the number 1 placed on top. Chalky White on the inside, Malcolm Locke on the outside. What's going to be the advantage there of those two? Because they've got to get the pace car out of the way, haven't they?
The pace car's now away, and they're away,
and so 30 laps of this Newtongrange circuit for the 1984 World Championship. Locke hits the front, second is Chalky White, third Dave Bunt, fourth Nick Lawrence, fifth is Kevin Stack, then comes Mike James, Harry Van der Spuy, and there's someone else already, Jonathan Milicevic. I want to pile up on the turn, in trouble. Guy Sansom is trying to mount another car out there. Looks like, yes,
Ian McKnight,
and real disaster there on the first lap. About 5 cars out. Alan Warren is out of it. Peter Rice is out.
Pete Hobson's also out.
Sansom still locks on that bend. Jonathan Milicevic in that former Trevor Whitney car in his first ever world final, and it only lasted about 30 yards.
Notice the Scottish drivers, head by Jimmy Moody, are lying in 7th and 8th positions.
So out in front, Malcolm Locke. Chalky White is second. Dave Bunt a good 20 yards back in third. Nick Lawrence getting a push now from Kevin Stack. He's back in fifth place. Now the track beginning to clear. Jonathan Milicevic waiting to try and get his car off. No, he can't. He's lost the wheel there, hasn't he? Yes.
He has indeed. There's Eric Moore spun out.
So one or two of the Scots falling by the wayside there. Oh, there's Harry van der Spury being spun out by car number 790, driven by Mark Taylor. So the South African now having to sit this one out. 753 getting collected on the turn. Andy Morris. So several major hopes having problems early on, although the really top star drivers at the front of the field are still in there with the chance out in front.
There's one of the other Scottish drivers out, Derek Kildee.
So leading the race, Malcolm Locke from Arnold in Dorset, 698. Second, Chalky White in 514. He's looking for a bit of space now. He uses a bumper. He's in there on Locke. Malcolm Locke first. Second is Chalky White. Third is Dave Bunt, now coming under pressure from Kevin Stack. And Stack almost getting forced onto the infield by a combined pressure of Lawrence and Dave Bunt. Bunt lifting there, coming off the curb. And looks like Kevin Stack, yes, is getting through on the inside of Bunt, followed by Nick Lawrence. Mike James just behind. Then we have a cluster of cars, but out in front it's Malcolm Locke. Malcolm Locke's now past Van der Spury. Second is Chalky White, being blocked by the South African. Then we go back another 30 yards for Kevin Stack, then followed by Nick Lawrence and Dave Bunt. It looks a bit bleak for the reigning world champion at the moment, Jim, doesn't it?
It does indeed, it does indeed.
Well, Locke now just tailing that car with a spectacular aerofoil. Getting through now. Now he's got daylight in that back straight. That'll go to the speed together. Let's see how Chalky White deals with the tail ender. The cars all proceeding through in front of our camera on the turn. Malcolm Locke out in front. Chalky White battling in second place. Getting a bit of daylight and pushing that Taylor car up against the Milicevic car going into the turn. Chalky White, though, has 30 yards to make up on the leader, Malcolm Locke. Third is Kevin Stack. Fourth is Nick Lawrence. The blue top showing up very well here.
He is going very well, isn't he?
We've seen some good racing from Nick Lawrence in Screensport televised events down in the Midlands. Maybe not getting quite enough meetings to get up to the red top.
Jimmy Moody picking up another place.
He's the leading Scot at the moment, is he?
He's the leading Scot, yes.
It looks, though, that the pilots that there have been have not involved the top guys, and then really the Scottish hopes were relying on a few of those guys getting sorted out early on, weren't they? Lawrence and Stack having, though, a classic battle. Malcolm Locke out in front. Sorry there, Jim.
Quite all right. We did look for a pile-up just to help our drivers. Unfortunately, it hasn't materialised. Still, it's a good race.
Well, from the English point of view, Malcolm Locke out in front. Second, Chalky White. In more particular, I'm sure our viewers in Plymouth, Exeter, and also Bristol will be thrilled by this. Malcolm Locke from Dawson out in front. Second is Chalky White from Sidbury in Devon, just up the road from that Newton Abbot circuit, 514. It looks like there's going to be some celebrating in the Trevor Redmond camp. Malcolm Locke out in front. Second, Chalky White. Third is Kevin Stack. Fourth, Nick Lawrence. And those really well clear of the rest of the field at the moment. So Locke is still maintaining the lead he's got over Chalky White. Chalky unable to make up any real headway, and Locke just going through, sliding through on the inside of the back markers.
He's got well through that pile of back markers. Hope Chalky can get through just as quickly. He is indeed.
And Chalky White using that Milicevic car again. Well, he got Gary Bark that time. Now, Chalky White certainly has taken notice of that 14 car, and he's using him as a battering ram, effectively. And
he is indeed.
All the time, Jonathan Milicevic must be sitting there wondering how much more of his car is going to be knocked off.
That's right.
That can't be a cheap car, because it's a very
there's Chalky out.
Oh, Chalky's out. Oh, well, trying to use that bumper too much, maybe. He's used it twice to get cars in against Milicevic. Looks like he's caught something himself now. So Chalky White out of the car and out of the 84 World Championship. Well, some determined driving from Chalky White. Looks like, though, he might have got himself into trouble that way. Well, I'm sure young Jonathan in car 14 maybe thinking a little bit of poetic justice there.
Oh, I think so indeed, yes.
So out in front now, and clearly out in front, Malcolm Locke, and the only challenge now coming from Kevin Stack. Now, Locke just going past. You can see there Locke in that stylish car. There is Stack in second place, just coming out of that turn. He's got virtually the length of the straight to make up.
There's James lost another place to one of the Irish drivers, Billy Allison.
But it's certainly, they sometimes say that World Championship events can't always produce the best of racing. Okay, Malcolm Lock's led from the start, but some of the racing down the field has been magnificent in this.
Has been, yes. Has been indeed. That's a great dice that's going on between Bunt, James and Billy Allison. That looks like Bunt has been pushed wide there now, and both Billy Allison and Mike James have passed as another driver takes to the infield.
Yes, can't quite see the number from this distance. Looking at it, yes, it's 6.85, I think, there. 6.89. 6.89, the car of Paul Butcher pulling off onto the football pitch. So 6.98, Malcolm Lock on his way to a world title at the moment, unless something befalls him. And indeed now, with a very commanding lead over the second place man, he's half a lap up on the reigning world champion, Dave Bunt. So it's Malcolm Lock first, but Stack is beginning to gain. He's making up some room. Malcolm Lock now lapping for the second time that 744 car of Russell Taylor. So Malcolm Lock first. Kevin Stack now within 30, 40 yards off him. He's closing, isn't he, Jim?
He is getting closer. There's a lot of cars in front that they're going to have to lap.
How about Errol Johnson, though, in 6.73?
Errol's making fair progress. He's known more as a latter half of the race performer. I would look to see Errol coming on quite well.
In the meantime, though, still a fair way down. Bryn Thomas now out of the race. Also there, 7.90 pulling off. That's Mark Taylor.
Starting again. There's Mike James out.
Mike James out, the Cornishman out of the race.
Which will move the Scottish drivers up another place.
So it looks like the Scots are going to be able to get up into the frame at this
It looks like they are, yes.
On the other hand, slightly better semi-final result. They could have easily dominated this world final, couldn't they?
They could well have done, yes. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be.
So Malcolm Lock leads in 6.98. Second, 6.28, Kevin Stack. Third, Nick Lawrence, 5.61, and he's still in with us shouts.
He is indeed.
And Nick from Wantage in Oxfordshire, only a blue top, but showing up very well in this world final. In third place, tailing Kevin Stack all the way around. He's already given Stack plenty to think about earlier on. And still in the race. We've expected Nick to maybe get himself into trouble by now, but on the other hand, he's still keeping a very strong fight. Malcolm Lock out in front. Lock now tailing a couple of back markers. You can see the difference this afternoon with even Red Top lapping Red Top. Malcolm Lock now coming up on 7.53, Andy Morris. Completely different texture to the race, though, if you like, than the ordinary Formula 2, isn't it?
It is indeed, yes. This is the most important race. You've got to go for a gap if you see it. If you do manage to build up a lead, then you maybe have that bit longer to decide when to go through. Just looking at it, Kevin Stack seems to be causing quite a bit on Malcolm Lock now. But that's the flag.
Oh, and there it was, yes, catching us out there for a moment. Malcolm Lock is the 1984 world champion. Indeed, we didn't see the last lap marker going out. The checkered flag, though, definitely there. Malcolm Lock is the winner of the 1984 Bristol Formula 2 World Championship. Second, 6.28, Kevin Stack. And third was 5.61, Nick Lawrence. So those are the top three positions in the 84 World Championship. Malcolm Lock will be delighted from that, leading from the flag to flag. Chalky White putting up a fine fight, and I'm sure, though, Jonathan Milicevic had a bird's eye view of one or two little things that Chalky was trying out there, using the Milicevic car as a bit of an extra fence post to get rid of cars, and of course Chalky being claimed himself not long afterwards. Malcolm Lock staying out of trouble, keeping the throttle down, finding a smooth line through. Kevin Stack, maybe another 5 laps might have come into contention. On the other hand, though, Kevin had to really worry about Nick Lawrence early on, didn't he? And that was really occupying him more than chasing the lead.
It was indeed, yes. That really decided the race. Actually, there seems to be a bit of aggro going on, or there was there, between Ian McKnight and Mike James after the race. I saw James's car on top of his bonnet.
Well, of course, tensions run very high in this standard of racing. So much at stake, a complete season at stake here.
Yes.
So Kevin Stack, the current national points leader, unable, though, to make up the distance from the second row up on Malcolm Lock. Lock getting a clear lead early on, and when Chalky White was gone, it really looked like the World Championship was going towards Lock, and so it proved. Kevin Stack chasing all the way. Once he'd shaken off Lawrence to a certain extent, though, there were just too few laps remaining for Kevin Stack to make up the gap. The 1-2-3 in the 1984 Formula 2 World Championship. First, Malcolm Lock, 6.98 from Marlon in Dorset. Second, number 628, Kevin Stack. from Willand, Nick Lumpton in Devon, and third place, number 561, Nick Lawrence from Wantage in Oxfordshire. And a marvellous race, and I'm sure that this first World Final at Newtongrange will go down in many people's memories as producing a fine race there.
Certainly. Very, very interesting race.
I'm sure Gordon McDougall will be delighted with that race.
Oh, yes. I mean, Gordon's worked very, very hard for this, for the whole 4 years that he's been a promoter, and
Really all credit
just
to him.
deserves, yes.
And certainly, we've certainly enjoyed this afternoon's racing here at Newtongrange. It's been marvellous stuff. The Formula 2s really proving that this 425-yard circuit is perfect for them. We've seen them on the tight circuits. They look good down there. They look good up here. 300 yards, 250 yards, 425 yards. The Formula 2s still can really turn it on. They don't maybe get in the limelight so much as some of the other Formulae, but on the other hand, those 1,300 engines, people say Formula 2s, 1,300, what an interest can there be? I think after that race, that argument's been well and truly silenced.
I think so, yes.
So with that, we now pay tribute to Malcolm Locke, the 1984 world champion, now being prepared to receive the honours, be coming off on the lap of honour. Winner of the semi-final at Skegness, and the winner of the World Championship final here at Newtongrange. And there he is, the winner of the 1984 World Championship, Malcolm Locke from Marnell in Dorset, holding the trophy proudly in the Scottish air here at Newtongrange. And once more, the World Championship goes back to the West Country, a little further out maybe than sometimes out to Dorset. Not quite down in the Devon and Cornwall areas, but Malcolm Locke, a regular performer down on the West Country circuits, Bristol, Smeethorpe, and Taunton and Newton Abbot. Sorry, St Austell and Newton Abbot there. Giving Roy Goodman a double plug there for a moment. Taunton and Smeethorpe. Malcolm Locke, the winner of the 1984 World Championship. We hope to have a couple of words with Malcolm before the end of the programme. Our congratulations go to Malcolm on his first World Championship win here at Newtongrange. But Jim, little disappointment, the Scots weren't able to get up there, were they, in the end?
It was indeed, but Jimmy Moody, I made came in 6th, and Errol Johnson came in 7th. That's the highest we've ever been placed. Next year, it's a different ballgame.
And we look forward to it. There's Kevin Stack picking up 2nd place. Leader in the National Points Championship. A very good traveller in the Formula 2 racing. Travels perhaps as much as most, with the possible exception of Gary Hooper.
Yes. Both are very popular up here.
So the 1984, there it says it all. There's the car in prime position, the 698 car of Malcolm Locke, the winner of the 1984 Formula 2 World Championship. We've had a marvellous day's racing here at Newtongrange. Now we'll take a trip down into the pits. Well, I have with me now the 1984 Formula 2 World Champion. Must sound nice, Malcolm Locke.
Sounds beautiful. I'm very pleased with today's, little episode, especially after coming all this way. It's really magic.
Now this is a much longer circuit than the ones down in the West Country, the Bristol, Smeethorpes and the Newton Abbots. Did you find it a great difference having to drive a 425-yard track?
Well, I like the bigger tracks personally, but we have a lot smaller tracks, in our area. But it certainly makes a change to get out on a nice big open track and, get on and do the work. Like that's the, nice thing about it.
How does that alter the tactics?
Well, I think it's basically down to the engine. If you've got a good engine, you can rev to a higher limit. I think you can really get on a lot better.
Now, in the race itself, that start was all important, wasn't it, alongside Chalky White?
Yeah, that was the thing I had to do. I was worried, well, not worried, but I had to make the break and get away from Chalky to start with, because Chalky is very, very quick getting away. We race with him all the time, and usually he is the one that gets away first. But today it just went my way, and we got away with it.
And once you saw Chalky pull out, if you did, you must have felt just a sudden pang, this is it.
Well, I did actually. I was looking in my mirror, and I could see that there was, after Chalky died out, there was nobody else. In the last 3 or 4 laps, I came up behind Andy Morris, I think it was, and I just stayed behind him for the last 3, and just took it very easy.
Now, this is your first title win, I take it?
Yes, this is first time I've ever won the World Final. I've had the Irish Open champion this year, but that is about the most important thing that I've won, but not except for this one, of course.
Now, how have you gone in past World Finals?
I've came up, I think I had 4th in the very first one I was in, 3rd in the next one, and I missed 2nd, and I'm straight up to 1st on this one.
So gradual progression along the way.
Yeah, all very gradual, but in all form I was supposed to come second today, but we had to win instead.
Who were you looking out for, though, in the race, apart from Chalky? Was there anyone else that you were worried about seeing in that rear-view mirror?
Yes, there was the Irishman, Ivor Greenwood. I thought we'd have more trouble with, but as it happened, he got took out on the first bend, I think. He was on the bottom corner here.
Yeah, a lot happened in the early heats, in the early laps, didn't it?
Yeah, very. You know, there was a lot of debris after the first lap. I think you had to be very careful. There's a lot on this bottom corner all over the place.
What's it going to mean to you now, being world champion?
Well, I just hope I can carry on and do everything that a world champion should do.
You'll be travelling?
Yes, I shall be travelling a little bit more. I think now I've got the roof. I shall have to go around and see, or most of the tracks. There's one or two that I've never been to, but I think we shall have to go and show the roof off.
Of course, it means an awful lot in Formula 2, the travelling involved, if you do want to go and show the roof. In the Formula 1s, I mean, it's all in about a 100-mile radius, whereas Formula 2's St Austell's and Newtongrange with Skegness out in the east. How do you fancy facing that?
Well, it's now I've got the roof. I think that you've got to make the effort and, just go around. This is the thing. Our other champion didn't travel an awful lot, which I think he should have done. But, just have to wait and see. I should just do as much as I can now.
Really, there is the pleasure and the glory of being a world champion, but on the other hand, there are the duties, aren't there?
Yeah, that's right. I've got to start right from the back now, so I've got all the work to do every time. There's no positions in the finals. I'm just right on the back. So we should just have to work it from there. Just have to go a bit quicker, that's all.
Well, many congratulations, Malcolm. Thanks very much for talking to us. Many congratulations on your world championship. Bye.
Thanks so much. Cheers. Thanks ever so much.
Well, it's been an excellent day's racing here at Newtongrange, and I'm sure Gordon McDougall will be delighted with his first big meeting in a brief 4-year spell here at Newtongrange, the Formula 2 World Final. And so I can give you now the full 12 placings for the Brisker Formula 2 World Championship 1984. First and world champion, number 698, Malcolm Locke. Second, Kevin Stack in 628. Third, Nick Lawrence, 561. Fourth, the reigning or defending champion, 595, Dave Bunt. Fifth, number 7, Jimmy Moody, the top Scot there. Sixth place, number 673, Errol Johnson. Seventh place, number 94, Billy Allison, the top Ulsterman there. Eighth place, number 790, Mark Taylor. Ninth, number 32, another Ulsterman, Ian McKnight. 10th, number 753, Andy Morris. 11th, number 64, the Manxman, Brian Kinraid. And 12th place, the Dutchman, Toon van der Kruis. So that's the finishing order in the 1984 World Championship. Malcolm Locke goes home to Dorset celebrating his victory here, and on a kind of journey from Newtongrange down to Dorset, I think it takes the World Championship to get you back there. We'll see you again. And also, we've got extra racing to come here from Newtongrange. That'll be coming up later in the year.